Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's 15-year anniversary, and it's from one of my personal favorite bands of all time. And as you can see, well, it's out today we're going to be talking about Are You Dead Yet? By Children of Bodom, the band's fifth album released on September 14th, 2005 through Spine Farm Records. Now, of course, Children of Bodom definitely doesn't need an introduction. One of my all-time favorite bands, hailing all the way from Espoo, Finland from 1997. This is the band's fifth album, following up their previous album, which in my opinion is probably my all-time favorite Children of Bodom album, Hate Crew Death Roll. But with this album, Are You Dead Yet, coming off of Hate Crew Death Roll, I feel like Joe Bodom, kind of like that. Those are primarily a melodic death metal band, but they also have hints of like power metal and other their genres. You could definitely hear it, especially mostly instrumentally. But I feel like sort of like the power metal influences are pretty much are kind of like a little bit lower compared to like previous albums. And it has like more, just kind of sounds more simplistic and has like a little bit more slower tempos, and the keyboard also so pretty much are dropped kind of like lower in the mix. Well, it's just mostly guitar dominated for this album, but I mean there are some keyboard moments on here. It's not to say that there is nothing at all, but yeah, this is, like I said, it's a totally different album, and I feel like this is also pretty much where Children of Bodom broke big worldwide. I mean, they were mostly known before that in Europe, but especially here in the US, as I feel like this is pretty much what broke Children of Bodom big, and pretty much like most of the people in the US know who they are. Production wise, it's pretty good. Just vocally, Alexi Lehio can do no wrong, and just his guitar playing and just shredding is fucking great. And it's also the first album with a new second guitar player, Rup Lavata, who replaced Alexander Kupala on rhythm guitar. Like his riffs that he just comes up with great. Bass wise, Henka Sapala, or also known as Henka T Blacksmith, his bass is pretty much really audible in the mix compared to like previous Children of Bodom albums. Like you could definitely hear it on some of the songs where there's like a few moments where you actually hear a little bass licks. Keyboard wise, Yanni Werman's keyboards, like his, are really well up in the mix. Like I even just say that like you could definitely hear some keyboard parts, especially like with Yanni and Alexi. It's sort of like the way they play together. It almost creates sort of like a cool melody and stuff, which is great. Drumming wise, Jaska Ratkiten, and I can never pronounce his name. Like one of the best drummers I heard. He's like does a really great job on the drums. So yeah, I pretty much ramble on for almost 3 minutes. So let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is Living Dead Beat, which has a pretty cool guitar riff, and then it just kicks just straight back in with sort of like just heaviness, some really thick riffs. And I really think the chorus, in my opinion, is probably the best part of the song, being sort of like the melody and sort of like the insane guitars that just pretty much has a little bit of variation there. Then we move on to the title track, Are You Dead Yet? Which starts off with some guitars, and then just sort of like building up, and then some insane like double bass drumming. That just sounds insane. And I feel like the verses here pretty much just spit out some just second riffs, just grind in a way. And I feel like the chorus is a lot even more melodic than on Living Dead Beat. Has a lot flowing guitars and just a really great drumming. So yeah. And moving on to If You Want Peace, Prepare for War, which in my opinion is the most brutal, heavy song on this whole album. This song sort of like has some heavy riffs, just and I really love how, especially right before the verse, it kicks out for a second to let the bass have its moment of glory by just plugging away, and then the guitars, the drums come in. Oh, another great song. Then we go into Punch Me, I Bleed. Now, after we've heard some 3 pretty good songs, this is pretty much, I feel like, where a little bit in the album kind of dips down slightly. I feel like the song is slow, and it kind of feels like it drags on a little bit. I feel like it attempts to be kind of like something from like Angels Don't Kill from the previous album, but I just don't think it comes too close. But overall, one of my least favorite songs from the album. I feel like they redeem themselves and just waste no time with the next song, called In Your Face. Has some keyboards and then guitars coming in, and then just the drums also come in, and then the band just kicks right in. And I really love just the keyboard line on this song is just fucking great. It has some no fancy guitar work at all. It just blasted in your face, and I feel like, wow, another great song. Moving on to Next in Line, which has a bit of a power metal formula that is like previously shown on like past albums right here, and this is pretty much the only song that has that kind of like influence on here. And I feel like the intro and like verse parts are based off like quick slides, but yeah. Moving on to Bastards of Bodom, which kicks off with a split-second riff and some really great chugging on the bass in between. And the keyboard, I feel like right here, takes a bit more of a dominant role that hasn't been heard so far yet on this album. And I just think this song pretty much has a lot of great melody throughout, and it pretty much gives it almost like a very classic feel to the song. But yeah, it's another one of my favorite Children of Bodom songs. And then we move on to the next song on the album, being Trashed, Lost, and Strung Out. It opens up, which kind of feels very thrash metal like, but then just some fast-paced balls to wall lead part, and then the guitar sort of like almost kind of like take a little back seat, and then some very kind of like cool keyboard parts, especially, and then all just hell just breaks loose within the verses. It's just really frantic, and the riffs are almost kind of like machine gun, just firing just out all over the place. And I just really love the catching, especially with the guitars and the keyboards doing that da 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 da, and he does it like higher than mid than lower. It's sort of like different octaves on like and stuff, which is pretty insane. One of my most catchiest songs from Children of Bodom, and one of my favorite songs from them, period. And then the album closes with We're Not Gonna Fall, which is just a heavy, hard-hitting song, and the opening riff is just very thick sounding thing, and it also has a little bit of like pinch harmonic mix-up parts, and the verses kind of seem unpredictable because it just goes from just straightforward riffing to just a full-on assault. And after like the chorus and the bridge just features some drums and keyboard, which also kind of gives it a little bit of an atmospheric vibe before the guitars just come crashing right back in. And overall, a great way to end this album. And overall, Are You Dead Yet is a pretty great album from Children of Bodom. This is pretty much what made them known worldwide, especially like I mentioned before here in the US, where I feel like they pretty much established themselves more here. So if I were to give this album a score, I'm going to give Are You Dead Yet by Children of Bodom a solid 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.